Some time ago we made a video on metabolism and metabolic syndrome. In that we covered some aspects of homeostasis, the balancing status of the body. Today we'll look at insulin and glucagon, the hormones that help you maintain this balance, maintain homeostasis. I once had a yoga guru tell me that life should not be measured in the number of years that one lives, but the number of breaths one takes. His point was that breathing should be slow and deep rather than fast or rapid and shallow as we are more accustomed to. That was a very interesting perspective. When I went into nutrition and started studying some biochemistry, I looked at insulin and its actions within the body and soon realized or felt that probably life should be measured in the amount of insulin secreted by a person, meaning that everyone has a restricted, limited supply of insulin. Of course you make insulin, but there is a limit to that, and one should be careful in using up that stock of insulin that has been determined for us. There is a good reason why some carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates, are known as fast carbs and fast food is known as fast food. The prefix of fast means that it ages you fast and you are forced to secrete more insulin to deal with this food that you consume. So one should be careful and try and make your insulin last for as long as possible. For now, let's look into these two hormones. Both of these hormones are made by the pancreas. Within the pancreas, there are very small tiny cells known as islets, islets of Langerhans. These are known as islet of Langerhans because of Dr. Paul Langerhans, who first discovered them. Within the islets of Langerhans are cells which are designated alpha, beta, delta. Alpha cells secrete glucagon, beta cells secrete insulin, and delta cells secrete somatostatin. For now we are keeping somatostatin away from the picture, but between the alpha and beta cells, about the islet contains almost about 80% to 85% of beta cells. Now these two hormones, the balancing hormones which we call them, actually go up and down in a very pendulum or a seesaw kind of movement. One goes up, the other one comes down, the other one goes up, this one comes down. So which means basically that when you consume food, insulin goes up, glucagon goes down, and when you are hungry, glucagon is up and insulin is down. Now let's look at the roles that these two hormones play. They are quite contradictory to each other. While insulin promotes the take-up of glucose by the cells and conversion to energy, glucagon actually stops that. While insulin asks the liver to stop flushing glucose into the system and convert it into glycogen, glucagon promotes the release of glucose from the liver. Glucagon promotes the release of proteins from the liver. Insulin stops that. Insulin promotes the conversion of the surplus glucose into free fatty acids and uptake by the adipose tissue. Glucagon encourages the breakdown of fats, and glucagon encourages the genesis of or the creation of ketone bodies from the fats for our energy. So this is how they are working in tandem the whole day, trying to keep you in that happy balance known as homeostasis. So much so that scientists have now created a gadget which they are calling the artificial pancreas. Let me tell you a little bit about this. For a number of years, the standard treatment for type 1 diabetics in the developed world, not really in India so much, they have been using something called an insulin pump. This is coupled with another gadget which is a continuous glucose monitor or CGM. the pump and CGM work in tandem. So the CGM is constantly measuring the glucose in the diabetic's bloodstream, and the pump keeps on secreting insulin depending on the requirement based on his glucose readings. But for long they have felt that insulin on its own is insufficient to do the balancing act that we call. So now they have come up with an improved version of this pump, which not only has reserves of insulin but reserves of glucagon as well, and both of them will be pumped based on their blood readings for glucagon and for insulin, and based on their glucose levels from time to time. So even science cannot attempt to recreate the pancreas without taking glucagon into account when insulin is thought about. Obviously, our videos are not made for biochemistry students or medical students or anybody with a deeper knowledge on the subject, but are meant for laymen in simple to understand day-to-day language. I hope this was of some value, you enjoyed it, and please subscribe, share and like our channel. Thank you so much.